the Grouchy Nerd.
Alright, you antisocial weirdos, it's time to learn a game that plays at the ideal player count. 1. Role Player, designed by Keith Matika, is a dice drafting game about the best part of any tabletop role-playing adventure, creating your character. What? The game is played over a series of rounds, and your goal in Role Player is to gain as much reputation as you can. You'll do so by setting attribute stats, getting weapons and armor from the market, unlocking skills and traits, all before setting out and following the call to adventure! Which, again, for you is just the end of the game. Set aside 1 gold die, then dump the remaining dice into the bag and give it a satisfying shake. Choose a character sheet to determine your character's race and choose a side. Perceived gender does not have an effect on the game, but race does. For instance, a dwarf gets a bonus to Constitution and a penalty to Charisma. Take 5 starting gold. Draw a random die from the bag and find the class card whose color matches the die. Choose which class on that card you wish to play. Or you can just pick one from all of them. You're by yourself. Who could care? Each side of a class card has a class name, that class's ability, the class color, and the big one, your attribute goals. See, as you draft dice and set them into the recesses on your character board, you're going to be setting the attributes that character has. Your goals show you which stats to prioritize with bigger or smaller dice values. In the case of the rogue, the goal is to have 18 points in dexterity by the end of the game. If you do, you get 4 reputation stars, which are good to have. But a rogue doesn't really care too much about how smart they are, so not only is your intelligence goal lower at 14, you also only miss out on 1 reputation star if you don't hit that goal. Shuffle and randomly deal yourself 1 backstory card. The backstory card tells you a bit about who your character is or was before they decided to give it all up and go adventuring full time, none of which really affects gameplay. But the grid on the left shows you another goal. At the end of the game, you'll get bonus reputation for the number of dice on your character sheet that match the colors and positions shown on the backstory card. Next, shuffle the alignment cards and deal yourself 1 at random. Your alignment shows a classic D&D alignment grid with good opposing evil and lawful opposing chaotic. This too shows a goal for you to hit by the end of the game, and reputation stars to either gain or lose, depending on how close you hit your mark. We'll see how your alignment can change in a little bit. Take 2 cubes matching your character color and place one of them at the center or true neutral space on the alignment card, and the other on your class card. Find the market card called Diplomacy and remove it from the game. That one's for people who play with people. It's not for us. Then separate the market cards by number of dots in the upper corner, 1 dot or 2. Shuffle, then remove 7 cards at random from each pile. Then place the 1 dot pile face down on top of the face down 2 dot pile, thus creating the market deck. Create the first turn's market by drawing the top 3 cards and placing them face up in a line. Remove the top card from the market and set it in a trash pile, leaving space for a separate discard pile as well. Set your initiative cards 1, 2, and 3, and place the 4 and 5, as well as the unused market, character, class, background, and alignment cards back in the box. Place 1 gold on the 2. Grab that gold die you set aside earlier. This is the enemy die. Draw 6 dice from the bag. If at any time, now or during the game, you draw too many dice, return all the dice to the bag and redraw. You may not, at any time, look inside the bag. Roll these 6 dice and place them as your starting attributes. During the game, you'll have an opportunity to take an action each time you place a die, but we're going to go over that in a little bit because you're not going to do that now during the setup. Dice placed in your attribute rows must be placed in the leftmost available slot. You get 2 gold for each gold die you draw in this step. Each turn plays thusly. Draw and roll 3 dice. Arrange the dice so that the lowest value die is on the 1 initiative card and the highest value die is on the 3. And the middle list die goes on the 2 with the gold. If there are ever multiple dice of the same value, you may choose which initiative card they go on. And remember that goal of getting certain dice colors in certain positions on your character sheet, so this, being able to choose which color goes on which initiative card if they're the same value, can be really useful. Dice phase. Choose one of the initiative cards and take the die, and if you pick the 2, the gold. Place the die on your character sheet in the leftmost empty space of one of your attribute rows. Anytime you complete a row, gain a gold. If the die you placed was gold, gain 2 gold. Next, you may optionally take the chosen attribute's associated action. Strength allows you to change the facing of any 1 die to the opposite side. Opposite sides of a d6 always add up to 7, so a 6 would become a 1, a 5 would become a 2, and so on. Dexterity allows you to swap the positions of any 2 die without changing their faces. Do note that you cannot move a die to an empty space with this ability. You can't swap a die with nothing. That's not how that works. Constitution allows you to change the facing of any die on your sheet by 1, though in this case a 1 cannot roll down to be a 6, nor can a 6 roll up to be a 1. Intelligence will allow you to re-roll any die on your character sheet. You may choose either result, either the old one or the new one, but that die does have to return to the same slot on your character sheet from which it came. Wisdom will allow you to move your alignment token up, down, left, or right by 1 position. And Charisma will get you a Charisma token, which can be used this round in the upcoming market phase in place of a gold. You flirt. Note that any dice played this round or any previous round or during the setup can be affected by any of these attribute actions. But you only get the action of the attribute of the die you just placed. So even if you're changing the positions or changing the facings of other attributes dies, you don't get to then also take those actions. You only get to do the one that you picked that round. If you pick the die on the first initiative card, that's it. You move on to the next phase. However, if you pick the die on the 2 initiative card, roll the enemy die. If the enemy die's result was a 1, move the leftmost market card to the trash pile. If it's a 2, the middle card, a 3, the rightmost card. If it comes up a 4, 5, or 6, do nothing. If you chose the die on the initiative card number 3, roll the enemy die and trash the leftmost card on a 1 or 2, the middle card on a 3 or 4, and the rightmost card on a 5 or 6. So there's a 50% chance that something in the market is going to get trashed if you pick initiative card 2, but something will definitely get trashed if you picked 3. And I can tell you right now, it's gonna be the armor card you want. It will be. It's gonna be. And remember, these cards are getting trashed, not discarded. They're never gonna get shuffled back in. They're gone, man. Next, move on to the market phase. You may purchase any cards still in the market row, the number in the top right being that card's cost in gold. Remember that you may use a charisma token gained that turn in lieu of a gold. There is no limit to armor, skill, or trait cards that you may carry, though you may not carry more than 2 hands worth of weapon cards. So 2 one-handed weapons or 1 two-handed weapon. You may at any time discard a weapon to the market discard pile to free up a hand for a new weapon. If you buy a trait card, move your alignment marker in the indicated direction immediately if able. Once you buy a skill card, you can use it anytime it's ready or upright, including right when you buy it. However, this means that using this skill will move your alignment marker by 1 space in the indicated direction. If you can't do that because your marker is already in the farthest space in that direction, you may not use that skill. If you are able to move your alignment marker in the indicated direction, you may then use that card's special ability and rotate the skill card 90 degrees. So just to be clear on that, using a skill card does require moving your alignment marker. The ability on that skill card is optional. You have to move the alignment. You may use the ability. If you cannot or do not wish to buy any card from the market, you may discard a market card to gain 2 gold. Do note you can only do one of these 2 things. You can either discard a market card to get those 2 gold, or you can buy a market card. You can't discard a market card, get those 2 gold, and then suddenly be able to afford the other market cards. Once you've purchased a market card or discarded a market card for the 2 gold, move the leftmost remaining market card to the discard pile. If there are any remaining market cards, move those to the trash pile. Then move on to the cleanup phase. Discard any unused charisma tokens. You may ready 1 exhausted skill, making it once again available to use on your next turn. Return remaining dice to the dice bag. Draw a new market row. If the market deck ever runs out, shuffle the discard pile and reset the deck, but not the trash pile. Those cards are gone. They're gone. I'm sorry. If you chose the die on the second initiative card, place a gold there. Do not add a second gold though, if you chose the 1 or the 3. Then begin a new round at the roll phase by drawing and rolling 3 new dice and placing them lowest to highest on the initiative cards. Play continues in this way until your final attribute row is filled. Resolve your final action in market phase, and move on to end game scoring. Now that your character is built and ready to go on an epic quest, slaying unimaginable beasts and defying untold horrors, the game is over! See, Each attribute goal is to be scored separately. Gain the indicated number of reputation stars for each of your met goals. If the goal shows just a number, your total attribute points must match that number exactly. If the goal is a range, your total must fall within that range. If there's a plus sign, your total must be equal to or more than the number shown. Remember to include natural bonuses and penalties. You score an additional reputation point for each die on your character sheet that matches your class color. Score the number of reputation stars, if any, shown on the space where your alignment tracker ended up. Note, this may actually lose you points. Score your backstory card based on how many dice match the color and position on your character card. Matching none or only one won't get you any points, but if you're able to match 2 or 3, you get 1 star. 3 stars for 4 or 5 matches, and 6 stars if you manage to match all 6. Each armor set scores separately. If you have several pieces of matching armor types, you score the number of reputation above the number of pieces that you have. Score an additional reputation star if the armor type matches your character's class color. Next, any reputation stars gained by trait cards. And finally, add 1 reputation star for every 8 gold you have. Check your total against the table in the book to see how you did. Though be warned, a low enough score will leave you questioning your own consciousness and may send you into a spiral of existential panic, the likes of which you have never known. Or you might be a true hero, or the Hey Ho Band. Alright, well that's how to play role player solo. Now get out of my dice pool. The Grouchy Nerd. You know, I googled it and I asked around on Reddit and Yahoo Answers, and I think I'm the only one who got freaked out by that NPC thing. Yeah. Just seemed like it answered a lot of questions, but then asked just as many. I don't know. Are we still on?